It's time for the Ron and Brian podcast. Get ready to fill your ears with the latest news, politics, current events, and whatever else we feel like talking about this week. And now, your hosts, Ron and Brian.
And good evening, everybody. It is Sunday night, 8 o'clock, and it's time for episode 222 of the Ron and Brian podcast. Brian, how are you this evening, my friend?
I'm doing wonderful. Hold on. I would be doing better if I remembered to turn off my air conditioner.
Oh, boy.
I'm doing great. It is Sunday. I'm going to tell you something. It's a 3-day weekend, folks. This is Labor Day weekend that we are recording this. So if you are watching live, then you understand the feeling that I am awash in, which is the fact of not having to set my alarm as I go to bed. It is the joy of waking up naturally tomorrow. It is the joy of being able to sleep in a little bit later on a Monday morning. Enjoy the fact that I can have a big pot of coffee without having to run in for the shower and go to work. As much as I love my job and I love the company I work for, I love my coworkers, love my commute, and I love life in itself, I like sleeping late every now and then. Ron?
Nothing wrong with that.
How are you doing?
Brian, as you will see by the background, I am back in the patented Ron and Brian bunker. Last week it was smallpox. This week, Brian, domestic terrorism has come to Elkins Park. The office of the Ron and Brian podcast here in total disarray. We are not certain as if it was Antifa, if it was January 6th insurrectionists, could potentially be the Boy Scouts as well. We are not 100% certain. The wife, she is safe. She is in a secure location. And hopefully, knock on wood, I'll be back in the usual office next week. But as always, Brian, the show must go on.
If I can say something, Ron, I think that's an amazing background. You know, you might want to, if you get like a laptop stand,
right?
To put your laptop a little bit higher so we can enjoy the background of the Yankeeness a little bit more moving forward. But I am going to say this to you. You've got an incredible setup, in your bunker. I think that many people would be jealous to be able to keep a backdrop like you.
It's fine, and I'm already on a stand for my laptop,
Really?
and I can kind of angle it down. It's a little messy back there right now, but maybe we've talked about potentially moving the show in its entirety to our bunkers, which would always make sense in case there is a nuclear attack. Again, another domestic terrorist attack during the show, we would be able to go on.
Ron, I'm going to ask you if we can break the fourth wall for
of course.
Just speak honestly. I know your wife doesn't watch the show. She has no idea what you're talking about. So what I'm going to ask you a question of is this.
Yes.
Is your wife taking over now that you've done even further home renovations? Has your wife kicked you out of your office? In effect, using now the she turned my bedroom,
correct,
home into a home office. Is this a case where she has kicked you out of your home office again?
It is
now expanded her territory to include both home offices now.
It is not actually. It is. So I feel like the space that I am in is now too small for her liking. Obviously she moved into the bedroom that you used to sleep in. Now there is talk that she may take the entire third floor of the house, which you had gotten used to sleeping in as well. She may take that entire third floor as her office and turn the room she is in now back to a guest bedroom, which you would then go back into if and when you ever visit again. I know it is very difficult to get time on your calendar lately.
Will she be sleeping upstairs as well? Is there some acrimony in the matrimony, as I like to call it?
There should not be. In fact, we have a brand new bed, brand new king size bed coming this week. So
which
very
is interesting.
Exciting.
If I remember correctly, that first room up on the third floor of your home would fit a king-size bed perfectly. I see her master plan, and kudos to you, Mrs. Ron, for the pieces of your puzzle falling into place.
All right. Should we get things rolling here, Brian, with the show?
Yes, please.
All right. It's time, as always, for Drink of the Week.
Drink of the Week.
Now
zdrowie.
Salud.
Drink of the week.
Friendship.
Prost.
Drink of the week. Drink of the week. Drink of the week.
Brian,
Drink of the week.
what did you bring to the table for your drink of the week this week?
Ron, there's two types of people. There are people who refuse to embrace the future, people who look back, people who refuse to admit that every second-hand tick of the clock is time moving forward, is the past growing larger. A lot of people, some people here on the show, I'm not going to point any fingers, are obsessed with Hot Podcaster Summer.
Hot Podcaster Summer.
But not I. I am forward looking. I am what we call a visionary in the podcasting industry. So for my beer this week, I went with Sam Adams Oktoberfest.
Interesting. Okay.
That's right, Ron. I am not about crushable beers anymore, despite the 90-degree weather outside. I'm looking forward to beers that are going to be nice and malty. Let's not advertise Coney Island. Look at that.
Looks good.
Look at that malty color. Look at that, Ron. We are talking about Sam Adams Oktoberfest. It's one of the better-known seasonal offerings from this country's most prolific craft brewery, owned by Coors, if I'm not correct. But while the beer embraces classic malt-forward flavors, a caramel sweetness that lingers through the finish and making it less drinkable than other less drinkable. No, this makes it more drinkable. Tasting notes. I'm picking up a color that is deep red in the glass with thinner head that slowly dissipates, but I could bore you to death. I'm just going to take a sip of this beer. Sam Adams Oktoberfest, people. Embrace the fall.
All right. Well, I've had the Oktoberfest. It's a solid beer, but I'm interested to hear your take on it.
That is good. I'm also very glad that I bought a 24-pack at Costco this week because I will be drinking this beer for the next 8 episodes.
All right. Here's something interesting, Brian. I did not realize this. You know, Boston Beer Company is the parent company of Sam Adams. Do you know what their stock price is right now?
No.
$330.80.
Nice.
That is
Who owns Coors? Who owns Sam Adams?
I don't know.
They got bought out by one of the major
I thought they got bought out by Coors as well. So I think Coors is like the ownership group, and then Boston Beer Company is still technically the parent company.
Well, according to William Esquire, he's claiming that he knows who is owned by Coors. But it's ironic. Instead of telling us who owns Sam Adams, he just wants to point out that I'm wrong.
There you go.
It's a subtle distinction in his comment, but still valid. Ron,
yes.
What are you bringing? What are you bringing to the table for Drink of the Week?
You know, Brian, I think we were kind of on the same wavelength. As you mentioned before, this is Labor Day weekend that we are recording this on. And unfortunately, that means that we have come to the end of another Hot Podcaster Summer.
Hot Podcaster Summer.
So you know us, Brian, we embrace heading straight into basic white boy fall. And what better way to do that, Brian, than with pumpkin beers? Yes, they've rolled out already. I had gone off of pumpkin beers for a while, but those beautiful bastards at Southern Tier Brewing in upstate New York, they pulled me back in. You know, they do their seasonal pumpkin, Imperial Pumpkin Ale. Well, now they've taken it up a notch by canning it and giving you Nitro Pumpkin.
Gosh.
Not only that, Brian, they give you cold brew coffee, pumpkin nitro. I don't know how you get any more basic than that. So we are going with the cold brew coffee, pumpkin nitro tonight. It's an 8.6%. So you know this is gonna be good. So this is interesting. You can see it's got a coffee-ish hue to the normal lighter pumpkin ale taste. It's got the nitro. It's got that creaminess. So let's see how this is.
If Ron's drinking 8% beer, he's going to be hammered for after dark. Oh, he's going for a second sip. Ladies and gentlemen, the man has...
I'm not going to lie. That's a fantastic beer. You get the pumpkin. You get the coffee. You get the creamy notes of the nitro. Yeah, it's going to be a sloppy night. I'm having. I'll probably switch over to the regular pumpkin nitro afterwards. But yeah, I am excited about that. So just some stellar drinks of the week right here. And again, we do say goodbye to Hot Podcaster Summer.
Hot Podcaster Summer.
But the best part of that sound effect will live on.
Of course. Now, Janelle points out here, summer isn't officially over until 9/21. Actually, that was last year, September of 2021. This is 2022, Janelle. So I'm a little
Well, and also,
upset that
you know,
she's
I
off
think
by a year.
I think she's looking at the regular calendar, but as we know, it's an entire different set of dates for Hot Podcaster Summer.
Hot Podcaster Summer.
All right, Brian, let's keep the fun rolling on. It's time for Beef of the Week.
Ron and Brian's Beef of the Week.
Brian, what's bothering you this week?
Ron, what's bothering me this week are some people and some corporations need to look at the calendar and instead of embracing what it actually is, feel this need to just leap forward. Earlier this week, actually it was yesterday, I was in my local Rite Aid, which is a popular pharmacy chain in the Northeast America. And they already have broken out their Halloween candy. People, it is the first weekend of September. There is absolutely no need that we jump forward to start celebrating something that is at the end of October. I understand that in this economy, stores are looking to make money any way they can. I understand. Unfortunately, I feel like there are better ways that Rite Aid could be recognizing the month of September. I mean, for Pete's sake, it is a Labor Day. Why don't they have an aisle of items that would celebrate the American worker? Instead, they're selling candy corn. They're selling other brown and black colored candy bags.
So Brian, I don't want to rain on your beef, but if I can say, that seems like a very different message than you gave for your drink of the week when you talked all about looking forward. And now it seems like you're chastising Rite Aid for looking too far forward.
Nope, I see perfect logic in both areas of my presentation.
Okay.
I'm not sure why you would confuse the two. I see a consistent, solid logic in both.
My apologies.
Ron,
Yes.
what's bothering you this week?
My beef this week, Brian, is with prostate exams. It has happened again. It was time for my annual checkup, and I believe I talked last year when I turned 50 about the heartbreak of prostate exams and how the technology has not advanced past your doctor's finger up your butt. Unfortunately, another year has gone by, and I'm going to say it. I'm going to say he was a lot more aggressive this year than he was last year. It seemed there was a lot more discomfort than last year. But
Okay, slow down. No.
Yes.
No. You are not going to bring up the issue of your prostate exam and think that you're going to get away without the details that I crave. Because first off, I'm jealous. I'm very jealous that right now there is a doctor who it was a human being, regardless of profession. That there's a human being walking this planet who's had their finger up your rectum to feel around, and it was not mine.
it was not.
So
No,
first
I apologize.
off, that's bothering me. But
Okay.
more so to the fact is that how can you tell me that you're walking in to your beef of the week, that you're going to tell me that it was rougher, and you're just going to just slide right past that? Notice the word I use, slide.
Yes.
Intentional, people. And you're not going to give me details. Walk me through it. All right, so tell me about you're walking into the room.
Well,
What
this
are you
this is at the end, and to be honest, I had forgotten.
How were his nails tight?
Well, he had a glove on, Brian. He puts a latex glove on.
So
There is some lube involved.
Slow down. Your doctor uses lube and wears gloves?
Yes.
What? My guy just raw dogs my butthole.
Well,
he just goes straight in.
Check your insurance.
Spits a little on the fingertip and just goes right in. Blue Cross Blue Shield emblem of the month.
So last year it felt like just kind of a quick in and out. This it was in and kind of circle one way, circle all the way the other, pop it out, and let me know that I still have a small, smooth prostate. So Brian, I am the picture of health as always. So thankful for that. Blood work, EKG, strong heart. We are here for a long, long time, my friend.
It makes me very happy to hear. I am very happy to hear that you are doing well medically. Also, the fact that it makes me feel very good that a man had his finger up your butt earlier this week.
Well, I have another year for that, so thank
you. Good.
Brian, we've got a ton of stuff this week.
So much.
Actually, should we bring back, since 'tis the season, NFL season starts next week, do we get right into NFL Locks of the Week?
Locks of the Week.
All right. Matt, play the new bumper for NFL Locks of the Week. Hold on. What do you mean it's not done? Yeah, I understand NFL season's next weekend. All right. Apologies, folks. Matt Beaker, our producer, yet again has let us down on NFL Locks of the Week bumper. Hopefully, we will have something next week. But as a reminder, this is we're going into year 5 of doing NFL Locks of the Week.
Yep.
Both Brian and I, perfect in our picks. We pick 2 games each and every week, and we've just been straight cash money. Homie. So we anticipate nothing less than perfection from ourselves. You should expect nothing less from us as well.
And it is because of our consistent track record of picking winners that this year we are proud to announce that FanDuel has become an official partner of the Ron and Brian podcast, sponsoring. No, you're not cutting me off here. Sponsoring NFL Locks of the... No, hold on. Sponsoring... NFL Locks of the Week. Sponsored by FanDuel, official partner of the Ron and Brian podcast, where if you bet $5, you get $15,000 in free bets guaranteed.
Brian, did you not check your email prior to that? Brian, I don't want to cut you off, but did you not check your email prior to the show? FanDuel did not sign off on the promotion. So keep working on it.
Was it the promo code Ron's Balls?
They said they had gotten a phone call from the folks at Manscaped, and apparently it did not go well.
You know what, Ron? I've got this.
Okay.
I'm going to work with the people over at FanDuel, the finest online gaming sites.
Yes.
I will work with them, and I mark my words, next week we will have them in a position where they are comfortable to say that they will be sponsoring our NFL. That is my lock of the week, not NFL related. My lock of the week is that FanDuel will be on board the Ron and Brian train.
All right. Well, Brian, what are your actual locks of the week for next week, week 1 of the NFL 2022 season?
Ron, I think you mean this week. I'm going with the Indianapolis Colts laying 8.5 over the Houston Texans. Houston Texans are going to be a disaster this year, people. 8.5 points is going to be a cakewalk. Also, Aaron Rodgers doing ayahuasca out there in Chile while experimenting with just free life and understanding who he is. He understands that he's no longer needs to say that he's vaccinated or immunized or whatnot. He's able to just say, fuck it, people. COVID's not bad. Joe Rogan told me so. So I'm going with the Green Bay Packers -1.5 at the Minnesota Vikings.
Those are some nice picks. I like them. I'm not going to lie. I do like them. I think I brought a couple solid picks to the table myself. Miami -3 at home against New England Patriots. Don't think New England has done much to improve themselves since last season. And then Baltimore on the road, -7 at the New York Jets. Whether you're looking in the past or looking in the future, one thing is consistent. The Jets are a horrible football franchise. So I feel Baltimore -7 is a pretty safe pick.
I would agree with that.
And hopefully Matt actually works on that bumper for next week. We will see what happens.
Listen, there's a reason why he gets paid what he gets paid.
Exactly. Brian, can we get to the lightning round? Because I'm very excited about it.
We're starting with the lightning round?
I think that's where we start. I think that's how good this show is, top to bottom. We start with the lightning round. You had done a lightning round for me the other week. I had made a promise to do a lightning round for you. I have 10 questions. Are you ready to face the lightning?
Yes.
All right. So first one.
Hold on, slow down.
Yes.
I have a sip of drink. It's my maker's mark. Check out this glass. Can you see the detail in this glass? If you look closely, you will see Mount Everest.
Wow.
A glass, and anybody who knows me knows I'm fascinated by Mount Everest, but it's actually etched into the glass.
Very nice. Well, have a sip. You're going to need that drink as we head further into the lightning round. So
Let's go.
Question 1, Brian. Would you rather be accused of being a friend you can't text in an emergency situation or being accused of being a poser?
Would I be which would I be more afraid of?
Which would you rather have? Would you rather be accused of being a friend you can't text in an emergency situation or be accused of being a poser? Out of those two, which would be your preference?
I would rather be called a poser.
All right.
I do not want someone thinking that they cannot depend on me in a moment of need.
Understood.
Now, in a moment of not need, do I need to be? No, I'm okay if somebody says I can't depend on you when I don't really need you.
Okay.
But in a moment of need, I want to be there for my friends.
All right. What is the cooler meme, Dark Brandon or Buff Trump?
I'm going to go with Dark Brandon simply because I believe that the concept of a evil Joe Biden really is just so unlike his image that I think it's genius.
Brilliant. Next one. What's your favorite dessert?
My favorite dessert?
Yeah.
Tiramisu.
Tiramisu. That is a good one. Kind of leads into this next one. If you could either never drink coffee again or never drink Jameson again, which would you choose?
Never drink Jameson again.
Okay. Interesting.
I would much rather drink coffee.
Not even a thought process to that. That's interesting.
I want to drink at least 3-4 cups of coffee every single day for the rest of my life. Jameson I enjoy when I feel like treating myself.
All right, that's fair. When you pass away, how would you like to be remembered?
Didn't we read our suicide notes one day?
We may have. I'm not sure.
I have no. I remember we did a bit where we read our suicide notes. How would I like to be remembered? I would like to be remembered as somebody who made the life of people around them better.
Very nice. I will remember you as the man who once coughed like this. That's what happens in the lightning round sometimes. Next one. We're up to number 6 already. We're really flying by here.
It is a lightning round, Ron.
It is. Do you floss regularly?
Yes. Not always in my lifetime. Though I will say this. The dental picks that have the little string of floss on them.
Yes.
Game changer. When I had to reel off a roll and then tie it around the finger, and then you're just working across already used dental floss through your teeth. Disgusting. I was not a fan. Now they've got the little picks that you can just, keep your hands from. Absolutely.
Nothing makes me feel unable to do things or uncoordinated as much as trying to use a piece of dental floss.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Let's see here. What's one country that you've never visited but would like to?
I would say England, but I'm going there in 2 weeks. After that, I'm going to go Italy.
All right. What is one pizza topping you could not bring yourself to eat?
Fish. When
So
I was
like
in
sardines?
No. Chunks of fish. When I
Oh.
was in Argentina, like a flounder, kind of like white fish. They would just put chunks of it on top of the fish. I
Yeesh.
couldn't touch that shit.
All
That
right.
was disgusting.
If you could only afford one streaming service, which one would you choose?
Ooh, this is a great question.
Thank you.
I'm gonna have to go Netflix because I feel it is the gold standard, just like Moderna.
Right.
The gold standard.
I feel like Netflix is the gold standard for streaming services. It just got the better quality original programming.
All right. Well, Brian, we have come to the final question of your lightning round. So you may need to take a moment on this one. I understand. It's I saved the hardest hitting question for last. If you could either never do the Ron and Brian podcast again, or never listen to Life of Agony again, which would you choose?
I would never listen to Life of Agony again.
Really?
Yes, hands down, without a doubt. And I
See-
know that that's going to be. I know that that's going to be a soundbite that someone's going to clip out and play out of context. But I don't think that I can put into words how much doing this show keeps me feeling engaged throughout the week. I am constantly looking at what's going on in the world. I'm constantly thinking about, things that are, potential topics to talk about. The number of conversations that you and I have throughout the week about, plans for the show, topics. Do we want to talk about things like that? There's absolutely, that's a no-brainer to me. As much as that may be taken as an insult to Life of Agony, what I really want is for it to be viewed as what a compliment to you about doing this show with you, that it should be viewed as.
It's a testament to the power of friendship.
I'll catch lightning in a bottle and then cram that bottle straight up your ass.
All right, so that is another lightning round in the books. I don't know why we have that other soundbite, but I hold on to it just for our lightning rounds.
I do not remember that whatsoever.
Let's see here. What do we want to move on to, Brian? I picked the lightning round, so I feel it should only be right if you pick whatever our next topic's going to be.
I would like to do a what would Ron do?
Oh, okay. All right. What would Ron do? I love when you bring me these situations, some hypothetical, some not. And so this is different from Ron Answers the Internet.
Correct.
This is an actual question that something you may have done or you see
Correct.
somebody
Yes.
did and you want to know how I would react.
Yes, I think that it is. I think it is very well established that there are times in my life when I struggle with did I do the right thing?
Okay.
When I am hit with a moment where I believe that it is, the hyperactive mind that I have. I believe it's, whether you want to say it's the ADD, whether you want to say it's the HDD, whether you want to say it's the HIV, but there's just so much going on in my brain
Right.
that no matter what action I take, I'm always thinking about, well, could I have done something differently? And I feel like in all my conversations with you and kind of, the basis of the relationship is that I don't sense that about you. You seem to be very much a kind of person where something happens, you make a decision, you move on. You follow through with that action. You look at all the facts, you're good with it, you move forward. I really respect that. So we put together this bit, which is what would Ron do? It's when Brian does something and he immediately asks himself, should I have done that? And there's only one real source where I can reach out to, and that is Ron, who's going to set me straight as to whether I did or did not do the right thing. Earlier this week,
Okay.
I was getting on the 1 train
Okay.
in Lower Manhattan, taking it uptown.
Writing notes here. One train. Up. Okay. Okay.
Okay. I am walking down. I walk down a set of stairs. I make a turn. I am now approaching the turnstiles
Okay.
to enter the subway system. I'm about to swipe my Metro card. There is a man walking through the turnstile to my right.
Okay.
That man is wearing a button-down collared work shirt.
Okay.
On the back of his collar, I see nothing other than the dreaded spotted lanternfly.
Oh.
A threat to the local economy.
Yes.
A threat to New York. Friend of the show, New York Senator Chuck Schumer referred to the spotted lanternfly as saying it's no longer just a threat to New York. It's a threat to everything. He has warned about the pest. He is demanding action. A councilman recently said that the spotted lanternfly is harming cities' wildlife in an effort to slow the spread of this troublesome species.
Yes.
The current guidance remains: if you see a spotted lanternfly, please squish it and dispose of it. That is actually my city's park department. I'm sorry.
We had a similar situation a couple of years ago when we had a spotted lanternfly invasion here in Pennsylvania. They wanted us to kill those things whenever you saw them.
They are now in New York.
Yes.
I remember being in your backyard with Mrs. Ron, and we spent the better part of an afternoon just running around killing them. It was shits and giggles. Okay, so I see a spotted lanternfly on the back of the collar of a man standing next to me.
Right.
He is going through the turnstile. I am going through the turnstile next to him when I see this. What would Ron do?
I would probably point out to the man that he's got a spotted lanternfly on him and offer to assist to get it off him.
Okay.
Brian, how did you handle this situation?
I was slightly more aggressive.
Please tell me you did not physically swat the lanternfly off of this man. I feel like
Ron.
you.
Oh, Ron. So you're saying that you would have tapped him on the shoulder and said, "Excuse me, sir, there is a spotted lanternfly on your back collar. Would you like me to do something about it?"
Or, yeah, just kind of point it out, say, hey, you've got a spotted lanternfly on you. You want a little help there.
Yeah, totally.
All right, so how did you handle the situation, Brian?
I tapped him on the shoulder as as we both passed the turnstiles, because he was in one, I was on the left, he was on the right. As we walked through, I tapped him on the shoulder and then literally just swatted the thing right off the back of his collar.
Okay.
As I said, "You got something on you, bud. You got something on you." But the lanternfly immediately fluttered down to the ground, at which point I stomped on it with my right foot 2 or 3 times as this man turned to look at me and was looking at the floor, was looking at me, was looking at the floor, back at me, and seemed to be trying to get a grasp of what had just taken place.
As I can imagine. I mean, at least you didn't try and squash it on him. That's where I thought you were
that I
going.
would not do. Correct. Yeah, that I was not going to do.
A valid question from Billy was, you mentioned he had a button-down shirt. Was his shirt buttoned up all the way?
Could not see from the angle that I had. I was really more fixated on the back of his collar. I took it as my civic duty to kill that lanternfly. I wanted to bring attention to him, but I did not necessarily want to let it get away. So I prioritized going after him.
I mean, here's a question, Brian, because you are a man who has lived in New York City for most of your life. How do you feel? How do you feel you would react if someone just came at you and was swung at the back of your head?
I think my first reaction would have been to swing back, and then I think I would have been more appreciative than this gentleman was. So he seemed more confused than anything else.
So some great commentary going on. Billy asking if you hurt your leg with the stomp, and Janelle responding he fractured his tibia. Which, to be fair, it is kind of shocking that you did not injure yourself trying to kill a spotted lanternfly, because that would have been very much on brand for yourself.
It would have been on brand, but can you imagine the story that I would have had I broken my leg
Oh.
trying to kill a spotted lanternfly. You would have loved it.
Glorious. Let's follow up on a story we had last week about an alleged sex act that took place at an A's game against the Mariners, I think it was. Now they apparently have a photo of the suspects that they have released. Here's a photo right here. Man looking a little disheveled, beard, Cure long sleeve t-shirt. So again, if you're in Oakland and it's August and you're wearing a long sleeve t-shirt, I gotta go heroin addict. I don't know about you.
But what if you're a Cure fan and you understand that in that goth phase, you have to wear long sleeve shirts?
Possibly. I guess so. I guess you have a point there. So again, they have not identified them by name, but they have released this photo. Police asking for help in identifying them. They face the charges of committed a lewd act in public with up to 6 months in jail and a fine of $1,000. What is funny, though, is now apparently people are now doing viral videos in the section of the stadium that this alleged sex act occurred, holding signs like, "These seats suck, keep your head in the game, and don't blow it," with others saying that it's the most action the A's fans have seen in years.
Yeah, I could see that. Here's okay. Let's go one further here. What would Ron do? Ron is at a Oakland A's game with his wife. But let's bring it back. You are at an Oakland A's game with your wife. You're sitting there. You're sitting in a section. You look over to your right, and you see a gentleman in a long sleeve black shirt with black shorts. It is extremely hot. It is Oakland. It is August. And you see that his female companion is leaning. Goddamn, William. William just nailed you right there.
Billy's shot out of a cannon tonight.
All right. But Billy also hasn't hung out with Mrs. Ron lately because she now is... she can hang.
That's right.
What would Ron do? Would Ron snitch? Would Ron reach out to the authorities and say, "Hey, listen, there's a guy getting a beach, down in the other section"? Would Ron mind his business and focus on the game? Would Ron immediately go on Instagram Live and show video of the sex act? What would Ron do?
I mean, I would definitely mind my own business, but I would also potentially, if I had a good camera angle, share it on the podcast Instagram Live.
I appreciate that. We have to get more views onto our social media. If you're watching this right now, and I'm talking about you, Ali M, if you are on Facebook, if you're on Instagram, if you're on Twitter, go follow our social media. We are on all of these. We're at Ron and Brian Podcast on Twitter. We are at Ron and Brian Podcast on Facebook. We are on Instagram as
the Ron and Brian Podcast. Don't forget TikTok. Follow us on TikTok, the Ron and Brian Podcast.
Come on, follow us on social media, people. The more people that follow us, the more likely it is we're actually going to do something.
Another great comment that someone made on this photo after seeing the Cure T-shirt is saying that bet it felt just like heaven.
Oh, that's good.
Nice little reference there. But now they appear to have started a trend, Brian, because there was another set of fans at a Toronto Blue Jays game playing the Chicago Cubs on Monday, apparently kicked out for having sex as well. This one a little bit closer to people. The photo from the A's game was a little bit far away, but there was definitely people close to this couple here.
Oh, come on. You're making it too obvious here.
The shorts are down. There's definitely something happening there.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on that.
So this is the top row of the 500 level, and they were apparently caught, and the couple was escorted. But apparently, the stadium did not file any charges, did not call the police, and the Jays beat the Cubs 5-4 that night.
Well, it looks like he's beating up that vagine.
Oh boy!
From what I read online, yes, William. I like the way William barely bets into Toronto. Yeah, of course it's in Toronto. People have sex in Canada, William. No offense, but I'm tired of the Canada bashing that we've allowed to go on unchecked in the comments, when we do the show. Canada is a perfectly good country. I know, William Esquire, we've had many conversations on our after dark pajama party. The socialized medicine he is so firmly against. His hatred for maple syrup and hockey too, despises hockey as a sport. I don't understand, where his anger towards Canada comes from. William Esquire, quite the angry man.
I guess if we had to ask, is he angrier with Reagan or with Canada?
Oh, I think he shows his anger towards Reagan on social media, but I think if you talk to him in person, the anger is, there on, for Canada. It's palpable when you're in his presence.
Palpable. All right, good word. Let's move on. We've got Jackson, Mississippi. I know you wanted to talk
Jackson, Mississippi.
So we've got another city.
Ron? Can you give me a moment here?
Sorry,
I shot a man in Jackson just to watch him die.
Sorry, Ron.
So we have another city in the country with people trying to survive without reliable, clean drinking water. We've got about 150,000 people in Jackson, Mississippi, trying to survive. Here's a photo of a family there filling up their tub with water so that they can then boil it and hopefully drink it later. The mayor, Shakwi Antar Lumumba, said, quote, "It's not a matter of if our system would fail, but a matter of when our system would fail."
Sure. Yeah, this is, we cannot be shocked here, people. I think we have and I'm not even going to pretend to say that I have an understanding of where to start to solve the problem. But ultimately, we absolutely have an infrastructure problem in America.
Right.
We are not investing in our infrastructure. We are applying Band-Aids when a gashing wound is opened. We are way too concerned with keeping our tax rate low while our society crumbles around us. We want money to go to Wall Street. We want to buy nice, cool, shiny things. But at the end of the day, the society, the country around us is crumbling. Our roads are crumbling. Our highways are crumbling. Our bridges are crumbling. Our transportation system is crumbling. Our water structure is crumbling. Our electrical.
This has got to stop.
So the situation does appear to be with the water treatment plant in Jackson, which apparently have been struggling for a while. Citizens in Jackson have been under a boil water advisory for a period of time now, but now it is a situation of where they don't even have access to the water because the main treatment facility has failed. They don't know when it will be fully operational again, so that is resulting in water pressure where you turn on your faucet and you may just get a dribble of water. So that's why these families have to fill up their tub with as much water as they can when they have water pressure, and then boil it off as they need it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, listen, people, it's just tragic. It is the fact that, and let's, I don't want to go the racism route. You know me, I really hate this. But it is if you look at the racial demographics of the city of Jackson, Mississippi, right. I believe it is over 90% African American. I believe that this is another, and despite being the capital city of the state, it is a city which does not have a very strong support from the business community, from the community of the state as a whole. It seems to have been abandoned, for the suburbs and other. What's the big town in Mississippi? Branson?
Yeah, that's probably the area people are most familiar with is Branson.
Yeah, the fact.
No, wait, Branson's in Missouri. I don't even know what's in Mississippi.
Ron, let's be honest. Most of the South is exactly the same to me. They're all just a mush of white racism people going to eat at Cracker Barrel so that they can have butter slattered butter. But more importantly, Ron, I think this is if there's one thing that, like, as an American, growing up as I did, living here as I did. It's the fact that, you can turn the water faucet on and have water.
Right.
I genuinely cannot imagine, the people of Jackson, Mississippi, what they're going through right now. And I'm sure there are some people up in Flint, Michigan, who are picking up the phone, chuckling, being like, welcome to the club.
Yeah.
I believe they also are still struggling to get proper drinking water.
They are.
This is a problem that is going to grow. We are not investing in our infrastructure. We are obsessed with lowering our taxes so that we have money to buy flat screen TVs. We have, so that we can pay, lower prices for our gasoline, so we can drive. But we are not carrying the fact that there is, poor water quality here. Even here in New York City, the residents of, God damn it, Billy! Enough with your obsession with Ronald Reagan.
So yes, apparently President Reagan cut most of funding for infrastructure back in the 80s. Obviously not helping with our situation now.
You know what's also not helping with my situation, Ron?
What's that?
I'm out of beer.
Oh, boy. You like beer, though, don't you? You son of a bitch.
I like beer.
I liked beer.
Ron, I'm going to get myself a beer. I'll be right back.
Here, I was going to have you explain to me this story, which you put on the list, and it just kind of jumped out at me, where apparently, I'm knocking my laptop over here. Apparently, Tiffany Haddish and Aries Spears are being accused of grooming and child molestation. Seem to come out of left field. You always have your finger on the tip of entertainment and the goings-ons, Brian. Can you explain to me what exactly is going on with this story?
Well, the question more importantly is, Ron, why are your pants off right now?
Brian, it's inappropriate.
No. It's what's inappropriate, Ron, is that, for this story of Tiffany Haddish molesting young children, you've decided to take your pants off.
Brian,
right.
Can you please, let's find
Cheers,
your
Ron.
center. Cheers, Mazel, my friend.
Oh, that's cold. Okay, here's the issue. Is that years ago, I don't remember how many years, I've been drinking for a little bit. Holy shit, who did Aries Spears eat?
He looks like Aries Spears ate a 7-year-old, not potentially groomed a 7-year-old.
Okay, now, do you remember the website Funny or Die?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think it's still around.
Really?
I think.
Okay, do you remember when the website Funny or Die was relevant?
Yes, that I remember, yes.
Alrighty, now you got a reference point. Okay, so apparently Tiffany Haddish and Aries Spears were filming a comedy Oof. They were filming a comedy skit on for Funny or Die.
Okay.
Tiffany Haddish had befriended a woman who had 2 children.
All right.
Who were ages, I'm going to make this number up,
They were
8 and 5.
They were 14 and 7.
At the time?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. So she befriended this woman, said, as they, as the friendship blossomed, hey, your kids, they seem photogenic. Would they be willing, to be, could I use them for, would they be interested in acting in skits that I'm, me and my some of my friends film for the internet? The woman said yes. She was paid, for the kids thing, and the skit that they did was something about pedophilia from the viewpoint of the pedophile.
Okay.
Now, if you remember, originally Funny or Die, this was not a corporate website. This was a website that Will Ferrell put out with a couple of his friends.
Yeah, Will Ferrell, Adam McKay.
And I believe also Jared from Subway, if I'm not correct.
I can't confirm that. We'd really have to look into that.
Might be wrong. Memories are a little hazy going back then. But apparently, Tiffany Haddish, Aries Spears, they used these children to film a skit about pedophilia from the viewpoint of the pedophile. It was supposedly funny. You cannot find it on the internet, but apparently in one of the scenes, the girl simulates filleting I believe it was a hero, which hence the Jared from Subway joke. But the idea is just the fact that they behaved in a sexual manner that probably, using today's mores,
You used the word correctly. Very nice.
Would be frowned upon. So these kids are now coming after Tiffany Haddish and Aries Spears, who also, I believe, helped write that skit.
So you're not. So it was one skit. So normally, like grooming seems like it's a process over time.
Correct. Yeah. Well, I mean, you groomed me for about 18 years, starting when I was in college.
It was a long con, but I finally broke you down.
And wasn't it worth it, Ron? Wasn't it worth it?
In the end, it was. Yes.
Hey, by the way, can we not celebrate that this is episode 222? I mean, it's not one of the nice round numbers. It's not episode 100. It's not 200.
It's not 250.
Everyone's looking at. I mean, the plans for episode 250 have already been started. We are already talking about renting the Atlantic City Convention Center and having Bruce Buffer announce the different bits. Beef of the week. My headphones working? Okay. Shit. Why did I just open up iTunes? Damn it. Hold up. I got music going on in my headphones.
Oh boy.
Yeah, okay. But it's episode 222. They said we would never get to it. Most importantly, who is grooming Ron for his furry lifestyle? And we all know the answer to that. It's Janelle.
We do know the answer to that. Brian.
See, look, right there. She admits it. That sounds tasty.
Well, there you go.
Janelle wants to groom Ron.
So, Brian, we love having conversations about people dying in freak ways. And this week is no different. We're going to pull up a photo here. This young lady here is a woman by the name of Germani Thompson. She worked as a baggage handler at a New Orleans airport, and she was killed when her hair got tangled in the machinery of a belt loader. So she was unloading a Frontiers airline plane parked at Louis Armstrong New Orleans International Airport around 10 p.m. Tuesday, and then her hair got caught in the belt loader. This happened on the apron of the tarmac. She was rushed to the hospital and pronounced dead after the incident.
So that's not a wig.
That apparently is not a wig, no.
So wouldn't a weave? So that's a weave?
I couldn't tell you, Brian. I can't tell you if it's a weave. I mean, she could just have very long hair that she wears straight. I don't have an answer for you. Regardless, the hair.
So you're telling me that she's not in the WNBA?
I'm telling you, no. She was.
Because I found it very odd that the media is using a photo of her clutching a basketball in a gymnasium as her photo.
So they apparently just pulled this off of her Facebook. She was an avid basketball player. She had played at Heston College in Kansas and Tougaloo College in Mississippi. Yes, yeah.
This is just fucking sad.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine going to work at an air? I mean, like I imagine it's not a great job, shuffling people's bags. I imagine it's actually. You know what? Hold on a second. Let me take that. I imagine it's a shitload of fun. Hold on a second. Let's, obviously, the way that the airline industry is working right now, there are no standards of performance anymore.
True.
I mean, people are lucky if their plane takes off, let alone if their luggage lands in the town where it's supposed to. I imagine as you're getting people's luggage, you're just tossing it in any direction.
You're just throwing them like a frenzy.
I imagine every now and then you cut one open and you see if there's any electronics in there. I imagine that they have contests to see who can throw a bag the furthest. I imagine that it is not the kind of job that you take thinking, oh my gosh, is this going to kill me one day?
Well, I think this is definitely like an OSHA situation. And I think Brian, what president cut funding the most to OSHA in his tenure?
Ronald Reagan.
Exactly. Anything bad you can track back to Reagan. Yeah, Reagan fired all of the airline workers. So
why would I not be surprised if John Hinckley was like William Page's nephew?
If he had like a poster in his bedroom of him, very possible.
Yeah, I think William Esquire. I think William Esquire is related to John Hinckley.
There you go. Moving on.
That would explain why when John Hinckley announced that he was going to go on tour, William Esquire went out and purchased tickets to every show.
He did, yes, and all been canceled. It's you have to think that John Hinckley served his debt to society, and it is a shame that he is not able to pursue his new love of music.
Have you seen any of his music?
Yeah, it's horrible. It's god awful.
But
listen,
just god awful.
If people want to pay $10 to go see this man perform, listen, why not? Brian,
but that doesn't mean that just because you want to see something, you should be able to pay to see it being done.
Why not?
I mean, I would like to see a doctor put his finger in your rectum and announce that your prostate is in good shape, but they don't let me go through that.
Perhaps you haven't offered me enough money yet, Brian.
Ron, I offer you something better than money, which was to live stream a Patreon episode of you having a prostate exam, behind the paywall, and you said no to that.
When we get to 100 Patreon subscribers, I will have a live prostate exam for all of our subscribers.
I have a great idea. If we can get 100 Patreon subscribers,
okay,
you give me a prostate exam and I give you a prostate exam.
I think I need 1,000 subscribers for that.
What's scary to me is the fact that we could be at like 999 and you would get on the next show and just insult every Patreon subscriber. You'd be like, Thomas Jackson in Omaha, Nebraska. Your mother's a whore. Your dad's a cuck and watched me bang your mom. Oh, he just unsubscribed. All righty. What are we down to? 743. Let's keep going.
All right, well, we're going to jump out to San Mateo, California, where a 93-year-old woman died and 2 others were hospitalized after they were served dishwashing liquid at an assisted living facility. 3 ambulances were called to the facility Sunday night to treat the residents who were mistakenly served the liquid instead of juice at Atria Senior Living. One of the residents was then pronounced dead at the hospital.
That's awful.
I think, that, again, is an OSHA situation. And I think, again, it all goes back to Reagan. That's crazy. And what's even crazier...
You got nothing on Reagan cut Patreon funding?
Reagan,
come on.
Well... So,
on a roll.
So apparently this substance was an alkaline cleaning solution that eats protein. But the interesting thing is this woman who passed away couldn't feed herself. So that means one of the employees at this assisted living facility would have to have poured the incorrect fluid, and then another person would have had to administer it to the woman, in essence killing her.
Listen, in this calendar year, I have spent way too much time in assisted living facilities. And I'm going to say that, the people that are working there are overworked, that there are, listen, it is a tough job. It is a rough job. It is a job that I could not do. It is not the people that are doing it, I do not believe are, many of them are properly trained, in the sense of they're doing their best, but it's, is it possible that somebody pours some cleaning fluid into a cup and puts it down, and then somebody walks by and picks it up thinking that it's the, medicine for this woman? Hey, different safety stand. What state did this happen in?
California.
Well, California, they've, ever since Ronald Reagan was the governor of California, funding to assisted living facilities was slashed 83%.
I guess the question is, I understand what you're saying about the employees and everything else, but how do you set up a facility like that and have a cleaning solution so close to where it could be mistaken for juice to be served to a patient?
Somebody got lax.
There you
Somebody
go.
needs to pay. Now, how does that sound? Now that you watch those, 5 days at Memorial?
Right.
Well, what did based on the standards you saw in that show? How likely is something like that going to happen?
No, I mean it's definitely, obviously, it's very likely because it did happen. So, speaking of Five Nights at Memorial, Brian, what are you watching?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this week, normally, Ron, I like to read on the train.
You do. Yes.
I on my commute. This week, instead of reading, what I did was I downloaded Netflix onto my phone. I downloaded HBO Max onto my phone.
Okay.
And also, I completed a week ago Peaky Blinders. So
Peaky Blinders.
Hold on.
Turn your volume down, everybody.
Peaky fucking Blinders.
I could have done better.
You could a little bit, but you're all right.
I have watched so much content this week for this bit. Where do we want to start? Okay,
Your choice, my friend.
I watched the first episode of The Rehearsal on I believe it is on Hulu with Nathan Fielder.
Okay.
Have you watched that?
Oh yeah, that's on HBO Max actually.
As I said, it's on HBO Max. First episode I watched Nathan Fielder. It is painfully awkward. I'm confused as to how real it is and how much is edited properly for dramatic effect or whatever.
Was that the episode where the guy is trying to tell his friend that he doesn't actually have a master's?
Yes, and
I will agree.
he builds an entire replica of the bar where this guy is going to have a meeting.
Right.
He hires actors, and I mean, it's so elaborate. The world that Nathan Fielder creates for this man, that I just struggled to accept that it was a genuine, that what the show was genuine. However, holy cow, it didn't matter. I was so entertained by it. Others weren't. I'm not going to lie. Some people in the room were thoroughly bored and told me that if I were to wanted to watch episodes 2 through 6, that I should do that on my phone on the subway and not around them ever again. Some people decided to do that. You know what?
That's how it goes.
That's fair. That's fair. They're allowed their opinion. I will be watching that absolutely again. What else did I watch? I watched a whole slew of things. Okay, so I knocked out the 2 episodes of Untold, the sports documentary series on Netflix. One episode I watched was The Rise and Fall of And One. I'm sure, Ron, you love street basketball as much as the next person.
Street is life, Brian. Street is life.
Street is life. But this was, as a lot of people remember, in the, I guess it was late 90s.
Yeah.
Maybe early 2000s. It was, not it was a basketball league that had a very different, style of play. It was coming from the street, so there was some grime to it. The players weren't, named, Mark Jackson. They were named the Professor, Hot Sauce, Skip to Malou. Those were actually 3 names. And I watched that, would not recommend it. It was very, there was a small a niche for that type of show.
Right.
As somebody who was familiar with the street back, listen, I played at the Rucker, countless times.
Yeah. You know how to dish
I made my
the
bones.
rock.
I made my bones on 4th Street and 6th Avenue. That's, it's on a Saturday, that's where you're going to find me. But I also watched the episode of Untold about Tim Donaghy, who was the NBA referee who was charged by the federal government, if I'm not correct, with gambling.
You are correct.
He basically was had some mob affiliates that he was connected with, and he was not only betting on NBA games, which was against his contract, but he actually was betting on the games that he was refereeing in, which is a major no-no. Really threw into question the integrity of the entire game. Have you watched that?
I attempted to watch it the other night. I think I got about 10, 15 minutes into it, and I felt it was extremely slow-paced.
Sure. The whole thing was.
It lost my interest after like 15 minutes.
As somebody who was is fascinated by gambling, I wanted to understand more about, because the thing is, when you watch the news on a daily basis, they don't necessarily go into the detail that they went into here in this documentary. So they kept saying he had mob affiliations, and
Right.
I wanted to know more about it. I also watched this was on Hulu, I believe, the first 2 episodes of a show starring Steve Carell. Everybody loved him in Anchorman. People worshipped him on The Office, but he's playing a very different character here. It's a show called The Patient. He plays a therapist who is kidnapped and imprisoned, held hostage by one of his patients, who in the very first episode announces he's a serial killer. Ron, did you happen to have caught those episodes?
I did happen to catch them. Great thing is they're only like 22-minute episodes, so it's a perfect perfect length episode. But yes, I did catch the first 2 episodes prior to the show tonight.
And thoughts?
I like it. It's they give you. I mean, it starts off right off the bat with Steve Carell waking up chained to a bed. So you're like, all right, we're getting right into this. And they really do very quickly, because again, the first episode is 20 minutes. They very quickly set up the world that Steve Carell lives in. They set up the serial killer character. Like for a 20-minute episode, they really put together the entire story, introduce the relevant characters, and by the end of that episode, you're ready to go into the meat of it in episode 2, which again, I think they covered a lot of ground in 22 minutes. This will be one that I keep an eye out for when they drop the episodes every week.
Yeah. And what I liked about it was the fact that they dropped 2 episodes on the first day.
Yes.
So the first episode, I really feel like set up the story.
Yep.
Second episode really showed it kind of gave it started the arc as to where the show was going to go.
Yes, agreed.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
Yep.
Did you watch anything else? Because I watched a few other things. I don't know if you want me to keep talking.
I did not. I still
on.
need to. I need to catch up. Again, we had the domestic terrorism incident this week, so I wasn't able to really spend a lot of time. I spent a lot of time being debriefed by the CIA, the FBI, and also the USDA for some reason. Still not sure why. So just did not have a lot of time watching. So please feel free to tell me.
Ali
what you
M.
watched this
Hold
week.
on. Ali M. called it out. Misery infringement. Patient. Kind of. I see it. I see it.
Yeah, a little bit.
Did you watch House of Dragons season 1 episode 2?
No, I need to catch up on 2, and I know episode 3 will be tonight, so I'm a couple episodes behind
tonight.
there too.
I am going to be lubing up my penis because I'm going to be all about it tonight.
All right.
Also, last but not least, I also watched the last 2/3 of the Elvis movie on HBO Max starring Tom Hanks. Do not recommend it, people. If you want to watch it, go for it. I felt that it was a movie about Colonel Parker, played by Tom Hanks, with one of the worst pseudo-European accents you can ever come across.
And unrecognizable that it was Tom Hanks.
Oh, not good. Not good at all. But just terrible. But it felt like it was a movie about Tom Hanks and, how he, it was a movie about Colonel Parker's relationship with Elvis and not about Elvis. And I've heard that there's a lot of great biographies. Oof. There's a lot of great biographies about Elvis.
Yeah.
That I felt this was their shot at, making a great Elvis movie. And they chose to do this through the eyes of Colonel Parker, who, from the way history is now looking at him, really was someone who had taken advantage of the artist Elvis and had really manipulated him and whatnot. It was, and it was just also his atrocious accent. Little did we know that this was the movie where Tom Hanks contracted COVID and decided that he was going to become a pedophile and move out to Greece, according to MAGA.
Yes. Janelle's asking about She-Hulk. Still need to catch up on She-Hulk again. September 8th. Well, yeah.
What is She-Hulk?
She-Hulk is the new Marvel show on Disney Plus. I talked about the first episode a couple weeks back and said that you would probably hate it.
So are we not watching it, or are we watching?
We can't.
I always like it when we watch the same show, so we can talk about it.
Then let's catch up on She-Hulk for next Sunday's episode.
Okay, so
I mean, September 8th is Disney Plus Day, so we'll have a lot of content.
What the fuck does that mean?
They're just dropping. They're dropping what? Thor: Love and Thunder. They're dropping a documentary about the making of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and some other stuff. So
Is Thor a movie? Is Thor?
Yeah, Thor: Love and Thunder was the most recent Thor movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Now, here's the question, Ron. As someone who may not have watched the first 3 Thor movies, that's not true. I watched one of them, and was just horrified, not interested. But I will watch She-Hulk and get caught up to date.
Yeah, I did not watch the first 2 Thors. I did not see Thor or Thor: The Dark World. I think I saw Thor Ragnarok, which is probably the one you saw, the one with Jeff Goldblum.
No. I watched the first Thor. I was trying to watch them in chronological order.
I remember when you were doing that. Yeah, that lasted a day.
No, actually, I think I did that for about a week. I made it through several movies. I was not expecting.
You gave it a run.
Basically, I hit a point where my work was being affected, and I was just like, I gotta go back to the office.
I understand. Well, Brian, let's wrap this up. Let's get ready for After Dark. If you are not familiar with it, it's for our amazing Patreon subscribers. It is content that's a little too spicy to be on the free episode. So if you go to ronandbrianpodcast.com, click in the upper right-hand corner, you become a Patreon subscriber at the $10 level or higher. You get a link to join us live on After Dark, which will start in about 19 minutes. If you join right now, we can get you the link in time to watch it at 9:30. But it's a lot of fun. And I've been drinking, Brian's been drinking. That just means that it's going to be even more fun.
Oh, it's going to be a fucking party. Ron, do you want to give people an idea of what kind of stories we have lined up for them?
No, I don't. They just have to trust us. If you have enjoyed any portion of the last hour and 11 minutes, then you should feel comfortable giving us $10 to watch the After Dark.
He's not wrong, people. The man speaks.
All right. Let's wrap this up so we can get another drink. I mean, you got a beer. I have to go to my beer fridge and get another beer. But let's wrap this all up and get this ready for After Dark. Brian, is there anything additional before we cut out of here this evening?
All that I would like to say is that rest in power, Mikhail Gorbachev.
Yes.
You know, the man brought down the Soviet Union in a way that Reagan could never claim. Cue Billy's rage. And every now and then you come across somebody who dies and you're like, thought he was already dead. Mikhail Gorbachev, rest in peace, my friend. And speaking of peace, Ron, I'm going to say peace to you, and I will see you 28 minutes.
All right. Thanks, everybody. For all of our regular listeners, we will catch you next Sunday night. Everybody else, we will catch you, Patreon folks, After Dark.
Thank you for joining us on the Ron and Brian podcast. We're live each week on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. You can find prior episodes, links to our social media, and everything else Ron and Brian at ronandbrianpodcast.com. See